I, 36M, have been with my girlfriend, 35F, for a little over a year, and until recently I honestly believed she was a woman I was going to marry. Our relationship was always difficult because of her family situation. Her parents are extremely traditional and controlling to the point where, even at 35 years old, she still hid huge parts of her life from them. In their minds, dating casually is shameful unless marriage is already guaranteed. So from the very beginning, our relationship existed in secret. We only saw each other once or twice a week, even though we lived about an hour apart. Most of the time I drove to her because sneaking around was easier that way. I paid for almost every date, every dinner, every trip, every activity. I never really complained because I loved her and I thought eventually we'd build a future together. But financially, I've been struggling lately. Last year I bought my first house, and honestly it's been one disaster after another financially. Mortgage payments, repairs, taxes, appliances breaking, random emergencies. I feel like every month something new drains my savings. I explained all of this to her multiple times over the last few months. Not asking for money, not begging for sympathy, just trying to be transparent that things were tighter than usual. At first she acted understanding. But now looking back, I think she only understood as long as it didn't affect her lifestyle. Last weekend was where everything started falling apart. She texted me asking if we could go to this luxury massage spa she liked a few hours away. The place was expensive already, but once you added gas, dinner, drinks, and making a full day out of it, we were talking hundreds of dollars. Normally I probably would have just swallowed the cost and paid anyway. But this time I genuinely couldn't afford it comfortably. So I asked her, "Would you mind paying for this one? Money's really tight for me right now." And immediately the vibe changed. She replied, "Kay, never mind. Then, let's just stay home. I'll work this weekend." Something about those messages instantly rubbed me the wrong way because it felt like the entire plan only mattered if I was financing it. So I asked, "Why does the plan suddenly disappear just because I asked if you could pay this time?" That's when the argument started. She told me she had never been in a relationship where money was an issue. Then she said, "That's kind of the boyfriend's responsibility." And honestly, that hurt more than I expected, because suddenly I started thinking about how much I'd spent throughout our relationship while quietly stressing over bills behind the scenes. I tried explaining calmly that it wasn't even about the massage itself. It was the principle. I told her that if the situation were reversed and she was struggling financially, I would happily cover things for her without making her feel guilty or less attractive because of it. Instead of understanding, she got defensive. She started saying I was keeping score and making her feel like a burden. Then came the first real escalation. Later that night she called me crying. At first I felt terrible, because I thought maybe we'd finally have an honest conversation. But instead she started talking about how embarrassed she felt after telling one of her friends about our argument. Apparently her friend told her, "If he can't provide for you now, imagine what marriage would look like." That sentence genuinely pissed me off. Not because I think men should never provide, but because I had been providing, constantly, for over a year. I asked her, "So what exactly have I been doing this whole relationship?" And she responded with something that completely shifted the way I saw her. She said, "I just don't think women should have to pay when they're with a man who loves them." The way she said it sounded so casual, so normal to her, like my financial stress simply wasn't relevant because love was supposed to override it. At that point the argument became much uglier. I told her honestly that her reaction was making me feel used. Not loved, used, and she completely exploded. She accused me of basically calling her a gold digger. She started bringing up everything she sacrificed to be with me, hiding the relationship from her family, making time for me despite their rules, risking their disapproval. Then she suddenly brought up marriage. Out of nowhere she said, "Honestly, maybe my parents are right. Maybe you're not stable enough for marriage." That one hit hard, because she knew how much pressure I already felt financially. And hearing someone I loved weaponize my financial struggles against me felt horrible. We ended the phone call angry, and for the next 2 days things were cold between us. Then came the second escalation. 2 days later she texted me acting strangely normal. almost overly nice. She apologized vaguely and said maybe we should reset and spend time together at my house to talk things out peacefully. Part of me was relieved because I thought maybe the fight was finally calming down. She came over that evening, and honestly, the atmosphere felt weird from the second she arrived. She was quieter than usual, distracted, walking around my house looking at things while pretending to listen during conversations. At one point, she asked weird questions about some valuables I owned, specifically an expensive watch collection my grandfather left me. I didn't think much of it at the time. That night, she left suddenly after saying she wasn't feeling well. The next morning, I noticed one of the watches was gone. Not just any watch either. It was the most sentimental one I owned, the watch my grandfather wore almost every day before he passed away. At first, I refused to believe she could have taken it. I literally spent an hour searching my bedroom, convincing myself I misplaced it. Then I checked my security camera footage, and there she was, walking into my bedroom while I was in the shower, opening the drawer, looking around nervously, then slipping the watch into her purse. I honestly felt sick watching it. Not angry at first. Just numb. Like my brain couldn't process that someone I loved would do something like that over an argument about Mon. I called her immediately. At first, she denied everything. Then when I mentioned the security footage, her entire tone changed. Instead of apologizing, she started justifying it. She said she deserved compensation for wasting time in a relationship with someone who made her feel unsafe about the future. That's when I completely emotionally detached from her, because suddenly the entire relationship looked different in my head. The expensive dates, the expectations, the comments about boyfriend responsibilities, the embarrassment when I couldn't pay, the manipulation during arguments. It all connected together in the ugliest possible way. And honestly, I snapped. Now here's where I might become the show. Her parents barely knew anything about our relationship. They knew I existed vaguely, but they had no idea we'd secretly been together for over a year, spending nights together, traveling together, basically acting like a married couple behind their backs. And they definitely didn't know she'd been coming to my house alone regularly. I contacted them. I told them everything. How long the relationship had actually been going on. How serious it was. How much she'd hidden from them. And finally, the theft. Her parents absolutely lost their minds. Apparently her father showed up screaming at her. Her mother completely broke down crying. From what mutual friends later told me, her family saw the whole thing as humiliation laid on top of humiliation. And after that, everything collapsed. For her. Her parents cut her off financially. They stopped speaking to her. Some relatives apparently sided with the parents and blamed her entirely. I haven't spoken to her since. But through mutual friends, I heard she had to move out and start supporting herself completely on her own for the first time. In her life, apparently now she works exhausting shifts as a waitress just to afford rent in a tiny shared apartment with roommates. And honestly, I don't hate her. I really don't. There's still a part of me that remembers the version of her I loved, but there's also a part of me that feels weirdly satisfied knowing she finally understands how difficult earning money actually is. Because for over a year, she treated my financial support like it was automatic, like it was simply my role to give endlessly no matter how stressed or mad I felt. And maybe now she finally understands the value of the things she demanded so casually from me that time. Still, sometimes I wonder if I ruined her life over one horrible decision. So, AITA, so what you think? Don't forget to like the video, subscribe for more stories, and share your opinion in the comments.